Nerdfest.
Yeah.
So here's what happened. When Play wanted to hire me, they found me on Instagram, right? And they're like, but we can't just hire you as an individual. You need to register a company. And I'm like, I don't have one. And the guy who recruited me was like, I'll give you a day. Go register something real quick because we want you in the team and we're willing to wait, but we need to move fast. First name popped in my head. I use the phrase a lot when I had to explain technical stuff. And I was like, it's a nerd fest. Don't worry about it. I just threw that in.
All right, Chad, good afternoon. It's a full day of content today. Fridays are heavy. We are so inefficient with our setup here. I'm balancing a laptop here. I'm balancing the black magic, but ultimately we here. Mo, honestly, we need to, after this, order a lot of cables.
Yeah, everything we need.
A lot of
new SD storage.
Yes, we need
everything.
to order a lot of stuff because the podcast setup is very
inefficient.
Very, very inefficient. We didn't even get time to set up the light. So if Mo is looking a little bit dark, it is okay.
He just hasn't been in the sun in a while.
Were you going to say something funny?
No. Let's.
Okay.
All right, Chad, we just want to welcome you. We're going to wait a couple of minutes. Jeff, Keegs, how are you guys doing?
I'm doing great. Excited to be here once again. I wish we could do a podcast every day.
Yeah, no, always good, eh? Love the podcast. Just a nice, relaxing scenery. Just sit back and have some chat with the boys.
And how are you guys feeling? Energy up?
Energy is definitely up. I had a good day, up 2% on the funded challenge. So
really,
yeah, one bullet.
Okay.
Lovely.
So hold on, I don't want to go too much into that one now, but I remember in the beginning of the week you said you were down.
Yeah.
So you mean it in like up on the day, or in one bullet you've recovered and you're up?
No, I'm up for the day. So I've been very selective. So slowly getting back to that break-even point.
No, perfect. I wanted to clarify that just in my own head.
Because the Wi-Fi. Chad, we don't have anybody. Obviously, this is the entire team.
First cast of the year.
First cast of the year. Are you comfortable, Mo? I don't think you're. We're gonna give you some time. Get comfortable.
I feel like I'm comfortable. I'm missing a pillow. That's my problem. Like this couch.
I gave you a pillow.
I gave it to Jeff.
I had a pillow. I had a pillow.
We only have 3 pillows.
No, we have 4. There it is.
We have 4 pillows in the office.
It's at the other couch.
Hey, Kate, can I get that pillow?
The one at the other couch. So
I thought you had it.
No, I did have it, and I said I'm fine sitting back, so I gave it to you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but how do you not have it and I don't have it?
Yeah, because if I sit all the way back, this is gonna swallow me up. That's my problem.
Yeah, that one.
All right.
Gracias.
Okay. All right, Chatadonia, I think we're going to kick it off. I think we need to chat about the structure of the podcast going forward for the rest of the year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As much as we love trading, as much as we love the financial markets, we decided that we want to do something a little bit different from just the normal trading stuff. Like myself, Keegan, Jev, it's almost 6 hours a day. We're talking about markets. We're analyzing the markets with you guys. So this year, we wanted to be an actual podcast. Remember, we are traders. We are individuals that want to go into business, entrepreneurship, creative. We've got a lot of creative ideas for what we want to do. So we're going to get a lot of guests on. Some of them are not going to be traders. Some of them are going to be very influential business people. Some of them are going to be entrepreneurs. Some of them are going to be creative people. So at the end of the day, the podcast wants to be a conversation that's relevant to what's going on in the world, relevant to going on in our community.
I think it's a good way to sum it up is we're going to have people who are all thriving in their sphere in the community. Mm-hmm. So you can have that conversation of what it is at that level, no matter what industry you're in, what it takes, where you are, what mindset you need to have.
Yeah, we want to pick their brains, basically.
Yeah, and that also show people that doesn't matter what industry you're in. There's certain principles for success. Doesn't matter what you try and do.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, so I think it's like we were talking the one day, I think, just saying that you have that. We always make that comment. What would it be to be a fly in the wall in that person's room or whatever the case is? and now to give you that aspect where we can sit down, ask the serious stuff, ask the fun stuff, just a normal conversation, as if you've got to have that conversation with that type of person.
Yeah. Chris, let me help you out quickly. See the Atom Mini?
Yeah.
There's an auto button. It's probably red right now, isn't it?
It's white.
Is it?
Yeah.
Just click the cut button.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. So
All
it's
good.
quicker then. All right.
Yeah, there you go.
Snap.
I know my job.
So, Chad, that's the structure going forward. Today specifically, I wanted to talk a little bit about South Africa. I think
Our beautiful, beloved country.
our country that we love, and also talk about what's going on in the world. And I think there's a lot that's been going on locally. Also want to get the feedback from you guys, but guys, SA things are looking bearish.
Yeah.
If we have to talk about it, and I want to specifically mention like all the major automotive companies that want to pull out. VW and Utenake wants to pull out.
That's a massive
That's
one.
crazy.
That is like huge for SA. So SA in a little bit of trouble. Well, I also read an article earlier in the week. I think it was last week or this week. Also one of the biggest net outflows from our equity market. I think at this stage from 2016 up until now, almost R1 trillion leaving the SA equity market. Also, if you go onto Bloomberg, I don't have a Bloomberg terminal because I don't trade like the banks. But if you had one, I saw the one guy, JC Lowe, a fund manager, I think for Investec, if I'm not mistaken. They've got that data on Bloomberg, and it literally shows from 2016, no new money came into SA. Money has just been leaving South Africa. So
That's crazy when you think about
7
that.
years, bro.
7 years
Yeah.
and nothing's coming, just going out.
it is literally something to.
Pretty morbid start to the year, actually.
No, I think
It's real, though.
I think we need to talk about it because as South Africans, we need to try and get to that stage of what do we do as the younger generation, as the younger entrepreneurs coming into the industry. How do we take that bad situation? Because obviously us sitting here, we are technically the leaders of tomorrow. So the older leaders, the older generation is going to start stepping out. So we as young leaders now need to say, listen here, where do we start making that shift? And that is where I want to pick your guys' brain as to, obviously everyone is trying to leave South Africa, but for us that love the country, that want to stay here, how do we turn things around on a grassroots level in our own community, and then ultimately have that impact, say, on a government level, to get to that stage where South Africa becomes the country that it could be and not where it is now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mo, start us off there, brother.
If I'm answering your question, man, I don't know. Every time I log onto Twitter and I see, dude, there's a problem every day in South Africa. You know what I'm saying? Especially with the government. I don't know. I don't want to turn it into like something completely political, but you know, man,
I think
the elections are coming up.
the elections are coming up. I think the big problem with that is we're not going to go down that rabbit hole because that's a massive argument. But I think where South Africa truly is starting to stand up together was, I think the Islam thing was the first one, where our government made a statement that the whole country disagreed with. And when you do something like that, I think that causes problems where you cause a massive upset and your people are not agreeing with that. They do not want to go with that. They do not, because you make them part of it now. And that's not the case you want. So I think when you start making those type of decisions, you've gone down the wrong road big time.
Bro, it's such a big chat. Just like when you think about everything, man, I don't know. What's your thoughts?
It's a very difficult question to answer in a sense of like actually having a solid answer. Chris said something. Begin with yourself. Strong families build strong communities. Strong communities build strong states. Strong states build strong nations. And but it's hard if you then ask yourself about the people in positions of power. I believe that there's a quote that says, set a goal so big you can't achieve, but grow into the person that can. So if your vision is so big, like become so influential that you become that change you want to see in the world. I feel like a lot of people have this perception that they first want to see someone else do it before they stand up for what they believe in.
Yeah.
And your take, Chris?
I always say, starts with family. Strong families, I've said it how many times, strong families create strong communities. Strong communities create strong cities creates a strong country. So it's getting back to that root of dads being dads, moms being moms, people starting to steward their skills, their ability in the community. If you've got time, if you've got resources, start putting back into the community. If we're going to wait for the government to do something, we're going to wait a long time. But I think if we start taking that initiative as individuals, for like instance what we're doing, we're empowering people not just locally but abroad to get a skill to get financially literate, not just in financial markets, in business, budgeting, your own personal finance. So it's not, you're not too small to make a difference. That's the thing. If you start on a small level, don't try and I think it's Jordan Peterson once said, like, I know the US people are very liberal, and he still told the guy, like, you can't even clean your room, but you want to come and stand on a platform here and talk about world economics and world politics. Like, go back to your dorm room, go clean your room, and then come back here. Like, get yourself first in check before you want to be worried about what government is doing, what political MPs are doing. So I think that's where it's going to start. Chad, anyone willing to leave the country? Anyone having plans to leave the country? Yeah,
bro. If I'm being honest, I've thought about it quite a bit, leaving the country. It's only because of the state of the country. You get what I'm saying? Like, I love the country. I only think of it because, you know, when my brother comes to PE, every time he's like, dude, PE is so relaxed, because whenever you're in Pretoria, you have to watch. Hustle there. Yeah, like you have to watch over your shoulder at every point in time. Anyone who bumps into you already check your pockets. You get what I'm saying? PE is a bit more relaxed, but there's a certain level of anxiety that we have here, and it's so normal to us that it feels like that's how things are. But then you find out people in other countries, especially the ones that don't make the news, they don't lock their doors in the afternoon, for example. If you're in the house, you can relax. You get what I'm saying? So there's this level of anxiety, and I think we see it every year. I go back to Rustenburg, and like the chats about crime are like up here, and I'm like, this wasn't this way when I was a kid. I used to be able to just catch a taxi alone and just go so far, and like, as a kid.
I was gonna say, as you say that, like, I've always spoke to people. I mean, that's the thing, we're not old. Like, when we're talking, like, when we were young, we're not talking like 50, 60, 100 years ago. Like, we're talking 15, 16, 18 years ago. And the thing is also, like, I could literally, like, with my mom and them still, I could have my bike and just be gone. I had to just be back by sunset.
Right? And they didn't even worry.
I was with my friends. I was at the shops. I was on a mission. There's no way you let people do that today.
But also, on the state of how the country is, do you guys think also as citizens we have allowed it? Because we, for instance, for a good example, load shedding. When it first happened, people were like, it's load shedding. Now you have a favorite slot.
Yeah.
But my thing is, I think this all goes back to government. Like, you can put your foot down, but the people that are in charge of it, unless that makes a change, you're not going to get that change.
Yeah, it's I hear you, Jeff. I hear you, but and I'm not making excuses for the masses, but it is kind of difficult chat. We're aware of it, and it frustrates everyone, bro. You get what I'm saying? But I don't know. There's this disconnect where you feel like voting every 4 years, like one vote should do all that.
But it also goes back to what we kind of discussed now, in the sense of like, what are we gonna do as individuals to actually change the country? Because what do I want to say now? Or
how we can change as individuals.
Yes. So for instance, we know about all this corruption and so forth. So, but like, no one goes into politics. Understand my point? Especially
I think I hear you, and I felt like you're going there, and I think people are going into politics to be that change. I don't think it's stagnant. It's a politics and the law moves very slowly. You get what I'm
Yeah.
But I
saying?
think even in that sense, especially with politics, I think like if you think about it, you got your two major parties.
Mhm.
You've got how many people could probably, let's just say thousands, can go into politics, but only two of them are really going to be the guys who are going to make the difference and run for president.
Who are the two major parties?
We
But,
got ANC and DA. I
Yeah.
think it's a
True,
clear one.
like,
Those are.
I think about.
We have the other ones. I mean, like, yes, everyone knows the EFF and they are there. But when you come to your seats in parliament, and they're not close to the other two.
I hear you.
Jeff, I believe people are going to politics. The big thing, though, with politics is you've got a very old regime still in power, and you've got a newer generation coming up. But unfortunately, they still need to almost play that game of the older regime to get into the ranks. Otherwise, you're seen as an enemy. So let's say, for instance, Mo gets into politics, he gets into the ANC, and he's this radical. Then they're going to be like, no, listen here, this brother had a little bit too much pizza.
They're gonna
Mo, we're going to put you at some ward.
Here's a simple example. I don't know if you've seen in a movie, young cop, he's a hot shot and he wants to change things. But the older cop is always like, dude, relax, because the rest of the police academy, if they find out you have to do things their way in a certain way.
I think a good example is still, if you look at the UK, the monarchy. They were very in their ways, and there came that point change was coming, and they never had to change, but they had to adapt.
That is
And
very
they had
interesting
to
what Tegan just
accept
said.
that no one's going to overrule them, but if they do want the respect and the people to work with them, you've got to understand where the people are coming
Yeah,
from.
you need to meet.
Do you think people are scared of
halfway.
change? Maybe that's also why.
I think in terms of us
uncertainty.
voting for, dude, like everyone you chat to, here's the thing also. You grow up and you realize politics does affect you in every corner of your life.
Yeah.
And you end up talking politics. You get what I'm saying? Everyone is frustrated with the ANC. Everyone is... People want change. Here's the thing. So if you go on Twitter, or at least Black Twitter, there's always this running joke of
Sorry,
like, hey...
sorry, did you say black Twitter?
Yeah, I did say
I also
Black
was
Twitter.
hearing that like in my
But
head.
there's always this running joke that people are like,
Black
people are
Twitter.
like, the elections are coming up. Remember to hide your grandmother's ID. You get what I'm saying? Because they're so married to the ANC,
Yeah.
they're afraid of change. We want it so bad, but they're still a major part of the population, and they still vote. You get what I'm saying? So it's that tug of war now, because we see it. Like social media gives us a lot of information.
I think to not maybe open up that political can. Let's
Are you saying we're not going down this hole?
And then we immediately jumped in.
okay. Let me put it to you guys this way. So, if you look at a democracy, our democracy is still very young. I think we've had this discussion. I think we, in our democracy, for not even 30 years, if I'm not mistaken, 1994, liberation of Mandela. How far are we down? 6. So we're going on 30 years.
Yeah.
Very, very young. Our democracy is still very, very young. Here's the thing. Apartheid. We cannot condone it. We cannot say it's right. There's no way you can try and say that was right. So that's the first thing. Now you've got a generation that got liberated by a party, by a leader, and the legacy of Mandela was built through the ANC. So now it comes to Jevan's thing of saying, listen here, the change is not necessarily with, they want change, but they want that change within the party that liberated the
that makes
people.
sense. That makes sense.
So that is the unfortunate thing. So unless you get actual, let's call it a quote unquote black party that gives them that sense of reassurance that we will never fall back to where we were pre-Nelson Mandela, pre-1994, then it will be like, all right, we can now comfortably go and be very objective about what a party is doing. And again, it's only 30 years later. we're still very young. I've said it so many times. It could even take 60 years for us to really heal from what has happened back then, and for us to really grow and come together as a country where it is not a case of we're still falling back on what happened, and that is not the, let's call it, the factor that actually determines how we decide and how we act. So I think it is a difficult one. Like, you cannot, even Mo wasn't part of the struggle, I wasn't part of the struggle, so we can only look through it through the lens of history. Unless we were there, we cannot really comment on it. We can say, oh, but get over it, this and that, but no, we weren't in that. We didn't experience that time of South Africa. So it is very difficult for the younger generation to understand where the older generation is coming from, because they lived it.
Yeah, but I think a key thing is that, and we always say in the world, is education. Education is power, and where we talk about a moment like that, if we look at the new generation and even today's generation, they didn't live through it. They want to feel the pain, they want to, as if they did, but they also don't know the facts. For people that studied history and stuff like that in school, or even just do their research, you'll see, like, yes, you've got the very quick summed up version. And I think that's what they hold that anger to, where they forget. Again, we're not saying there's no way what happened was right, but when things were going on, there was a lot of facts that are left out. And that's what people don't know.
True.
So going back to what is happening in the world is in a mess, guys.
Yeah, man.
I think everywhere is just like it's going down here right now.
Guys, there's a number of different wars happening.
I mean, you got the Islam,
Israel.
Israel. You've got Russia, Ukraine still going at it.
Right.
Sorry, I think I don't know. We must be very careful.
No.
Words. No. I'm not saying for. Listen here, all of our opinions are of our own, and if you don't agree with what we're saying, feel free to drop something in the chat. I'm just talking about the actual YouTube algorithm that will shadow. So let's try and talk about it in a very.
There's a lot of controversial matters going on in the world right now.
let's just talk on it. It's weird. It's weird that we got to that level. That social media and the media censored so much, but we also need to operate within that vein. So I don't know how we
can I
gonna
ask
do
you
it.
something? Can I ask you something, Chris?
Yes.
Maybe all of you guys. With like censorship and things like that, in your opinion, do you think that's also like kind of not a violation, but like, okay, let's say for topic's sake, a violation of our free speech?
I'll take away no.
No. So I thought about it. So here's my thing, and I think people don't realize they don't think this through. If you allowed everybody to try and push a narrative, I think the first time we saw it was in Britain when there was these riots that got stirred up through social media. A lot of damage was caused, a lot of havoc was caused. And if you do it for the wrong reasons, there needs to be some type of guideline, because otherwise you can get militant groups rallying up people. For instance, in South Africa, you can get people in a lower LSM community and you can start riling up hate. You can start posting stuff because, again, we talk about that emotion. So if you do it for the wrong reason, I don't think there's something wrong with censorship. I think at the end of the day, there's something wrong with pushing a narrative.
Yeah, I think something as simple as hate speech, even in our law, it's not censorship. You get what I'm saying? So, like Chris is saying, you do need guidelines as to the kind of conversations that can be had.
Yes, so I think if you talk facts and there's a certain, my thing always, if you are saying something, if Keegan comes online and he is starting to push a narrative, there's something that he wants to accomplish with that. Either it is to get the support of his followers to attack another group, almost like a type of neo-Nazi type of vibe where you're trying to create this common enemy. you're starting to rally up people, and it's like we're fighting this common enemy, and now all of a sudden everybody's very emotional. Keegan is now becoming somebody that people look up to. We give him that platform, and all of a sudden we sit with the issue.
Now he's organizing marches and
You're
militia.
gonna see, I'm gonna come here one day. I'm gonna have Chris cancelled.
You see?
The overrule.
We had a soft cancel last year. That was just funny.
Yeah, so I think globally also a lot of issues. Elections coming up, US elections. Who do you guys think?
Honestly,
2024.
I was Trump
You
all
say Trump?
the way. Trump.
You're joking, right?
No, if you want to save the economy in America, Trump's the best man. That is their problem. They're on the verge of going into recession.
Hey.
And if you statistically, Trump has been able to do what no other president has been able to do there.
Hey.
Yes, he's a very controversial man, but he takes emotion completely out of the equation. So for what they need, he is brilliant.
How
for
do you
them.
support Biden?
Hey man, here's the thing. No. Here's the thing. You know, I look at our country versus America, right? There's this weird thing. We have a lot of different parties. They have essentially two. They have the Democrats and the Republicans.
Yeah.
It works in the sense of like, if you have one problem, there's an easy solution. The other party. And with us, it's more of a thing of like, okay, I have a problem with this party. Then you have all these other ones, and too much choice sometimes becomes no choice. You get what I'm saying?
I mean, look at when we're on Uber Eats.
So, yeah, right. Like you spend an hour and you just never eat. So in the same sense, I'm like, I hate that because I'm forced. If I'm not for Trump, now I'm forced to go with Biden. You get what I'm saying? I looking at like the recent couple of weeks, whatever, I wouldn't say he's my guy. But then again, you have Trump on. There's no good choice there. It's so frustrating.
No, but that's not for me. Like I was saying, if you look at America's situation, they need Trump now. That's what they need.
Do you say yeah?
Dude, I love Trump.